Hello and welcome to BFS Wargaming. It's Patrick here, and today we're going to talk a bit about target priority. So I haven't seen any videos on this in the past. It's something that I think is obviously very important in Warhammer 40k games, and I want to give my thoughts, and maybe some of this stuff is going to be so obvious, but especially for new players, it might give them some ideas on what they should be targeting, when they should be targeting it, and how they should be targeting it. So first off, we're going to talk about, when it comes to target priority, you have to look at what army you're running. Okay, so let's say I am running orcs, okay, and I am running a horde of orcs, 150 boys. Okay, now what you want to be looking at is what's the thing that's going to kill those boys the quickest. It's going to be multiple shots. You know, you're not going to be bothered if they've got a few las cannons, because a few las cannons to orcs, they're just going to laugh at it, because you're going to kill, like, even if you had 8 las cannons and killed 8 orcs, you've got 142 left. It's not a problem. So it's them multiple damage weapons that you really want to go after first as an orc or a horde army, and try and get them and bring them down. So something like a Leviathan, which is between the two, you know, it's something that is high, well, it's not really high damage, it's multiple shots, but it can do damage to both heavy and horde, so that's why it's a good option. But there is ways around that, which we'll talk about. So then you look at what army your opponent's running. So is your opponent running something that is, you know, they're relying on, for instance, let's say it's guard, and their army is focused mainly around tanks. Well, then you want to look at target priority. Your target priority might be to get rid of their screen, so you can then close down their tanks with close combat stuff. Your target priority might be shoot at the tanks with your heavy stuff, shoot at the guardsmen with any light guns you've got to clear that screen, again, to get into them. It might be just putting everything into those guardsmen, because you know once you get rid of those guardsmen, you can then close down them tanks, and they have to fall back, or they might not be able to fall back, and then they won't be able to shoot. So then you'll just then move up again, charge them again, and close them down that way. So actually your target priority there might just be, right, let's get rid of all of the guardsmen, let's not even shoot at the tanks. Or you might be looking at they're running, again, a horde, and you've got a more elite like Space Marine army. Then it's all about just trying to delete those numbers. And also when you look at something like orcs, your target, or Necrons, for instance, for a big blob of Necron warriors, your target, you need to focus fire. So you need to make sure you get rid of all of those orcs, otherwise they're probably going to green tide them and come back. So that's whether if you know they've got enough command points to green tide them, bring them back in, then you need to get rid of all of those orcs. Or with the Necrons, obviously they have reanimation, so you need to get rid of all of those Necrons. So that's where target priority comes in for, depending on what army you're playing against. You need to know what they can do, stratagems wise and things like that. So you need to know what you need to do to get rid of that and make sure it's not coming back, so they're not going to get an advantage from you shooting at them. And then we come back to the Leviathan. So another tactic is, you might think, okay, this Leviathan is really dangerous and it's going to delete a lot of stuff, but I really want to get rid of their ability to hold objectives first. So what you do is, because the Leviathan's only 24-inch range, you avoid the Leviathan, stay out of its range. I mean, it's got a 32-inch range technically because it moves 8, but you stay out of its range, and then you take out everything that can hold objectives, and then it's just one Leviathan sitting there on its own, and it's actually gonna you can either stay out of range of it, or then you can then deal with the Leviathan once they've got nothing else left. Obviously a Leviathan, you can close it down, charge it, and that will also take out the game, unless it's got something where it can fall back and shoot. It's not very good in combat, the ones with the storm cannon arrays. So that's another thing. The other thing you can do is, if you've got something that's pretty scary in front of you, you don't necessarily, but you've got, say for instance, you've got something that's really good in close combat coming towards you, but you've also got something, a big cannon at the back that you really need to get rid of. Well, instead of shooting at the close combat thing, you could screen that out. So you could sacrifice a unit, screen that out, let them charge that unit. They'll probably kill that unit, and that turn you take out the big cannon at the back, and then they take out your screen, and then you take out them. Okay, so it's seeing what is the also the biggest threat to you at that point. And then we're going to go on to talk about objectives. Now, objectives is huge because obviously this is a points game. So you need to score the points. So whether that is in the normal Warhammer 40k rules, or whether that is in the ITC missions or WTC missions. I think it's WTC. Yeah, World Team Championships. So depending on what mission it is, you're all scoring objectives. So your target priority might change. It might not be the thing that's the biggest threat to you. It might be the thing that gains you the most points or stops your opponent getting a lot of points. So you've got to take that into account as well. You've always got to be thinking about the mission. I mean, I've seen people's army get absolutely obliterated by the end of the game, but they've scored so many points by ignoring these things that are obliterating them, but scoring so many points that they're so far ahead by the end of the game that the person that tailed them can't even get back into it because they just can't score enough points back. So there is always those things as well. Your target priority might be killing something small to get up an objective to make sure you get all of the points. And leaving the big threats, knowing that they're probably going to do you some damage, but just sort of making sure you're scoring more points than your opponent. So yeah, that's sort of, I hope that I split that up enough, because I did just ramble for a good 7 minutes there about what you should be shooting at. But, you know, I just sort of wanted to pinpoint it. So in terms of what army are you playing? So what's a big threat against your army? Is it going to be the big cannons that are your biggest threat, or is it going to be multiple shot guns that are going to be your threat, or is it going to be their close combat that's your biggest threat? And you've got to suss that out and suss out what you've got to shoot at first, you know, because maybe they've got a load of Wolfen, and you know once them Wolfen get into your lines, you're going to really struggle. So you've got to try and focus fire on getting them Wolfen down. And then the other thing, what army is your opponent running? Obviously you've got to look at them. Maybe you look at their army and you think, okay, they're going to really struggle to hold objectives, so I'm just going to take out all of their little stuff, and then they'll just be left with their big cannons at the back, and okay, they'll kill my guys, but I'll be able to outscore them for the whole game. And then you've got the tactic that you might avoid your biggest threat and take out other stuff like that, depending on what army you're running. You can screen out a big threat and then shoot at something else, and then go back to that on the next turn once that's dealt with your screen. And then there's the playing the mission, the objectives, shooting stuff, which is stopping your opponent getting points, and it's allowing you to score more points. So that is my little video on target priority. I hope you found it useful. Please put any comments, anything you think that I might have missed, or anything that you think you want to elaborate on that I've spoken about. This is obviously more for the beginners, people that just sort of maybe want to take a look at target priority. What should they be shooting? Because it's really not a straightforward subject, and it does depend on in literally every game you play. It could change. You could play the same army 3 times, and each time you played, you decided to shoot at different things, because it depends on all of these factors. And ultimately, the biggest thing it will depend on is the mission. You know, it is, how do I score the most amount of points? What do I kill first? You know, do I need to take out that big tank, big cannon because actually once I've taken that out, it will allow me to score more points because they won't be able to then kill all my stuff on the objectives. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I'll try and bring you some more videos over the coming weeks. Hope you're enjoying them, and I will see you in the next one. Stay lucky. Thanks. Bye.